I'm currently 6 months off caffeine, and my brain is actually beginning to recover. I'm actually starting to improve, and I decided to make this guide. So initially, I made a free course, and I decided, fuck it, let's just throw this on YouTube, because there's no full guides on YouTube. There's all these videos where everyone is like, oh, I've been sober for 30 days of caffeine, guess what happened? Surprising effects. And it's all sure, they're entertaining, but there's no full caffeine guides where somebody gives away the secrets on how to quit caffeine, how to actually stick to it, the mindset that you need, the system that you need, and how to do it while mitigating withdrawal, making withdrawal as less of an impact as possible. And given that, with my journey, I'm 6 months off it now. It probably took me like a year to actually figure this out. And I'm going to give it to you all in like however long this video fucking is. So if you do want to quit, don't be a pansy ass bitch and just sit down and watch the video. This isn't some like bullshit like I'm going to upsell you or anything. I literally have nothing to sell. I just want to make this video because there's no one on YouTube has made this. So fuck it. Here it is. This is the whole system. This is how I quit caffeine. And I'm going to give it to you. So first, you need to know, this is what caffeine feels like, okay? This is your baseline energy, and when I say energy on this graph, it's more of like your life force, how you feel. Like imagine as a kid, like you were thriving. You had all this this energy, you had this like childlike curiosity. You just had passion towards life. You were excited. The world seemed good. You could say, oh, well, it's because you're an adult now, but a lot of it, people's energy issues, people's mental health, a lot of it's not because they're adults. A lot of it is because they just haven't been taking care of themselves the way they should. And now because they're an adult, they can't get away with the things they could as a kid. And it's all catching up to them. So anyways, imagine this is like your life force. This is your energy. When you drink caffeine, you may, in like the first like little bit, you may feel like a little spike like in the first like week. But after that, it slowly begins to drain you. And you may even notice this when you drink caffeine, you get this like, it gives you this uptight feeling. This feeling you need to do something. You need to get something done. And you may think, oh, that's great, it makes me productive. That is wrong, but I will discuss that later. So, over time, especially with energy, with caffeine, people think the biggest misbelief with caffeine is it gives you energy. No, it does not. Caffeine, what it does, it blocks, like when you get tired, these things in your brain called adenosine receptors, they basically say, hey, we're tired, time to go to sleep, time to rest, and we need this. Like as animals, like we're just like more developed fucking monkeys. Like there's monkeys, there's tigers, all this shit in the jungle. Everything needs to sleep. Everything needs to rest, and these systems are put in place to keep us alive. We need them. These fight or flight systems, the need to rest, we need it. This is how it keeps us alive. And caffeine disrupts that. Caffeine basically, instead of your brain saying, hey, we're tired, let's go to sleep, caffeine doesn't give you energy. What it does, the caffeine molecules, they block these adenosine receptors in your brain, and this basically prevents you from realizing how tired you are. So you don't get energy, you just don't realize how tired you actually are. And over time, you're drinking caffeine, you're pumping liquid stress hormones into your body, you're keeping yourself in this prolonged state of fight or flight. Your energy will just slowly and steadily fucking decrease. And this is why you may have noticed over the past couple of years, you've just felt more burnt out, you're in need of a vacation. And the real issue isn't that, you're burnt out, you need a vacation. Oh, it's work, it's this. It's caffeine. You're taking this drug. And not because it gives you energy, you're taking it because you don't want to feel the withdrawal that it's giving you. Caffeine is literally inducing withdrawal. It's giving you withdrawal. And then you're drinking caffeine to feel normal again. But normal people, they don't need a drug to function. It's like a heroin addict. People take heroin once and then they're fucking hooked because now they don't take heroin to feel good. They take it not to feel bad. They take it to avoid a withdrawal and feel normal again. And that's with caffeine. It's the same thing. It's not as severe, but you're taking caffeine to mitigate withdrawal that caffeine caused in the first place. What happens so this is just say your energy drops off over time, and then it kind of, flatlines, you're really low, you're burnt out. When you quit caffeine, sure, there may be an initial withdrawal period. We're going to talk about later how to actually deal with that. So watch the whole thing. You actually need every step because every lesson builds off the next one. This isn't some bullshit. It's an upsell or anything. This is genuinely if I were to quit caffeine, if I were to give myself this full guide, go back in time, this is it. This is fucking everything you need. It's going to be better than any course or book you fucking read. And I've read a lot of books and courses on it and studied a lot of shit on this. So when you quit, your if this is your energy, you may find a little drop in energy, which is expected, and you're used to operating on this drug. Take that away, you get a bit of your energy crashes a bit. The thing is, over time, then you're starting to rest properly. First, your sleep may be poor or whatever, but over time, you begin to slowly recover, and your energy will slowly start to increase again. Over time, you'll get back to your baseline, and maybe even beyond. If you change your diet, you're probably gonna eat healthier now than you were as a kid if you actually know what you're doing. Getting some regular exercise, your sleep quality's improved. It's a good chance your energy will go beyond what it was when you were younger. Despite what the world thinks, everyone has this mindset, don't talk to me until I have my coffee. Everyone's... I hate people, fuck's sakes. So when it does come to quitting, you're not going to quit until you have a fuck this event. So MJ DeMarco talks about this with finance. I'm using this for caffeine. A fuck this event is, for me, for caffeine's sake, it's basically when the pain of drinking caffeine outweighs the pain of changing, and you have no choice. It's like when you first start caffeine, it may not seem that bad, and you still have your energy, you've still been resting for years before that, so you have caffeine, and it's not that bad. Over time, if you were to quit, you think, oh, well, I don't want to quit, caffeine is so good, and if I quit, I'm going to go through withdrawal, and it's going to be so bad, and that's painful. You avoid that pain. But then, over time, the pain of drinking caffeine, this shit is sucking your life force. It's a fucking parasite. And over time, I might sound pretty dramatic, but I don't give a fuck. Your energy drops and drops and drops, like we showed in the graph, and you get to the point where you're so angry and you have this fuck this event where you're like, fuck this shit. I'm done poisoning myself. But people have this with alcohol, people have this with smoking, all kinds of addictions. It comes down to a fuck this event. Moment in time where hopefully this is your fuck this event when you realize, after watching this whole thing, I'm gonna tell you all how caffeine is actually, how corporations are selling it, and how it's completely false. All the benefits they think that people say it gives you energy, it gives you motivation. It's all bullshit. When you have this fuck this event, you realize that it's painful to quit, but it's more painful to keep drinking it, and that's when you quit. And the reason for that is because you need to understand this. This is the mindset shift that you need. Humans are motivated by pleasure and pain. Those are the only two things we are motivated by. And you might say, oh, that sounds like bullshit. Hear me out. Okay, think about your day today. What have you done? You probably woke up, you went and got dressed, maybe got a shower, you brushed your teeth, you got some food, whatever. Why did you do that? Why did you brush your teeth? You brush your teeth, oh, well, you could say, oh, because, why wouldn't you brush your teeth? Okay, but why do you do it? You brush your teeth because if you don't, your breath will smell. Okay, and why do you care about that? Oh, because it feels gross in your mouth. And because if you don't brush your teeth, people aren't going to want to be around you. That rejection, that is painful. So you brush your teeth, really, to avoid the discomfort of having your gross mouth and having people avoiding you. And you're brushing them in hopes that by doing this, people will want to associate with you, realistically. And you'll feel better about yourself. So you're doing it to minimize the pain of rejection and maximize the pleasure you'll get from brushing your teeth. It's a pretty stupid example, but like comes to eating food. You eat food because if you don't eat food, you're going to be hungry and that's going to be painful. You eat food, you feel good and you feel energized, or at least more so. Pleasure and pain. Watching this video. You are watching this video because something in your brain on some level that caffeine is bad for you and you're struggling to quit, or maybe you're just interested in hearing about maybe you're debating quitting. And you realize, oh, if you do want to quit and you're watching this video, you realize, oh, caffeine's painful, it's destroying my life, I need to quit, and it's going to be a lot better, hopefully, when I get through it, when this guy gives me the fucking system, if he ever gets to the point. And so that's the thing. When it comes to caffeine, there's also, even though it's bad, there's a part of you that is telling you that part of you in your brain still thinks it's good. Part of you still thinks that caffeine is this thing that, when I drink it, I get some energy and I get some mental clarity, and that's all great and shit. And because of that, you can't quit. If you try to quit on sheer willpower and you try to just dwindle down slowly, and eventually you're going to break, you're going to give in because you think caffeine is this great thing. Part of you does. And because of that, it's hard to stay away from it. Instead, you need to flip it. You can't quit on sheer willpower. You need to instead, think about diets. Have you ever seen anybody eat all healthy and lose a pile of weight and then keep it off? No. Because they try to do it on willpower, and eventually willpower will break. You'll have a moment of weakness and you will relapse. When it comes to caffeine, you need to change that. You're going to tell yourself, we're going to convince you that caffeine is the worst thing in the fucking world, because it is. And once you realize that, you will not want it. You need to associate caffeine with pain. All the pain and misery that you feel right now, that is because of caffeine. Put all of it on caffeine. And then the pleasure you'll feel, imagine when you were a kid, you had this like joyous childlike curiosity. You could go outside and play. You didn't need caffeine. You weren't on a soccer field saying, oh, well, sorry guys, I can't play soccer. I can't focus. I haven't had my caffeine yet. You just fucking played soccer. Like, you didn't need this drug to operate. Think about that. Imagine how rested you felt when you were a kid. That's what's on the other side of this. You're going to feel, you're going to get your life back. You're going to get your old self back by getting off of this drug. So focus on that pleasurable future, and then focus on the pain that caffeine creates. And that will make you not want to drink it. That's the first thing. Second is the self-talk. So I actually learned this. I was talking with a friend and we were drinking, and I was loaded drunk on my bed, and I was telling her, I was like, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. I'm trying to quit. It's rough. It's all this, which is pretty funny because I was drunk at the time. And she said something that just shook me. And she said, you're not an alcoholic. You just drink when you're stressed. And I paused and I was like, I'm not an alcoholic. I just drink when I'm stressed. And it was this mindset, this shift, that allowed me to go from trying to quit and drinking once a week. That's the best. I get once a week, and then I just binge drank or whatever. When she told me this, at this point, alcohol was so painful I wanted to quit, but I still had I kept telling myself every single day. I told everybody I knew, yeah, I'm an alcoholic, I'm trying to quit. I kept telling this. I kept reconfirming the negative beliefs I had with myself. It's like if you tell yourself, yeah, I'm a lazy piece of shit, you're gonna feel like a lazy piece of shit. Instead, if you tell yourself, for caffeine, instead of saying I'm a caffeine addict, you tell yourself, I'm not a caffeine addict. Say it right now. Say it out loud. You behind the camera. I'm not a caffeine addict. I'm not a caffeine addict. I'm not a caffeine addict. It sounds stupid, but when you keep telling yourself this thing, eventually you will start to believe it. If you tell yourself the opposite, you'll start to believe that. Whatever you tell yourself, whatever you think, whatever you perceive, that is reality. Believe it or not. Human mind is very powerful. There was actually I don't know if this was a study or a story or whatever. I heard this story at a stadium. There was a hot dog stand, and a lot of people there had the hot dogs. And then there was an announcement. It's like, oh yeah, guys, turns out there's a food poisoning outbreak. And we're very, very certain it's because of the hot dog. So if you experience symptoms, come to us, we have emergency, medical personnel on site, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden people started getting ill. People getting carried away in the ambulance, they had very serious food poisoning symptoms, which made sense because they ate the hot dogs. And it was later confirmed that, oh yeah, the food poisoning didn't actually come from the hot dog stand. It came from a restaurant nearby that a lot of people who had the food poisoning symptoms, they didn't even eat the food that gave them the food poisoning. Does that make sense? And so how did they get food poisoning? The mind is powerful. Whatever you believe, they believed, oh yeah, I'm going to get food poisoning. I ate this food. It's so bad. And that actually manifested symptoms of food poisoning in their body. Now, that may sound like bullshit. You're not going to obviously think, oh, I have a six-pack, and then the six-pack's going to grow. No. But what you tell yourself, the brain's powerful. So whatever you tell yourself, it matters greatly. So tell yourself, I am not a caffeine addict. Say it every day. Say it out loud. Say it in the fucking mirror. Do whatever you want. Fucking say it. Do not say the opposite. Fucking hell. So false beliefs. People, it's funny, if you want to research up something, you can find research supporting fucking anything, okay? Political stuff, fucking science stuff. You can find arguments on both sides that are true. When it comes to caffeine, the same is true. If you were to Google, oh, is caffeine healthy? You'll find fucking 20 articles of doctors saying, oh, caffeine's so healthy. It's a high source of antioxidants. Are you seriously telling me that you're drinking caffeine for the antioxidants? That's your lead argument. I've heard so many people, I used to say this, caffeine has antioxidants, it's good for me. You're drinking caffeine for the antioxidants? Are you serious? Fucking no, you're not. If you're drinking caffeine for the antioxidants, why not drink 100% decaf? Decaf has caffeine, but drink 100%. I'm sure there's caffeine coffee out there that has 100% decaf coffee that has no caffeine whatsoever. It's not healthy for you. The process of removing it's not that good, but I'm sure that's out there, and that has antioxidants. So why not just drink that? Well, because you're doing it for the caffeine. Why not, if you want antioxidants, why not just eat fucking blueberries, which I'm pretty sure blueberries is a way better source. It's bullshit. Smell and taste. So let's start with smell. Caffeine, when I say caffeine, I mean coffee, tea, whatever your poison is. But everyone says they drink it because it smells good. I agree. I think coffee smells great. Maybe I disagree now if I were to smell it because I haven't had it in like 6 months. You know, you lose that like acquired taste and shit. But I think coffee smells good. But so does shampoo. You don't want to drink shampoo every morning. Axe body spray smells, well, you can debate that, but let's assume Axe body spray smells good. Middle schoolers seem to think so. Fucking spraying the kids. Let's assume Axe body spray smells good. You don't want to chug that shit. So clearly you're not drinking caffeine or coffee for the smell. What about the taste? Okay, well, coffee tastes good. Sure. Does it really? When you first drank it, did you like the taste? Fuck no. 99%. You might be a weird 1% coffee drinker who like to taste black, but shut the fuck up. Most of you watching this video, if you're watching this now, you didn't like the taste of coffee. You probably like had an iced coffee. And you probably I didn't like iced coffee when I first tried it. I tried it in the summer of 2017. A vanilla iced coffee at a McDonald's. Because some Minecraft YouTuber I used to watch, he said that was his go-to. I messaged him on Snapchat and he responded and that was his drink. So I was like, oh shit, let's try this. It's gonna be so cool and be like a Minecraft YouTuber. And yeah, I tried it and I hated it. I remember my sister had one of those like Oreo drinks and it looked so much better. And funny enough, fast forward a couple of years and I loved iced coffees. They were like the best tasting thing in the world. All the sugar and shit. But that's the thing, you're masking coffee and caffeine with sugar, milk, whatever other shit goes in it. So you don't like the taste of coffee. You just, over time, you've adapted and you start to like it now. If you like plain black coffee now, it's because you just realize, your body realizes, oh, we're going through withdrawal. This is a simpler way to get the caffeine and you kind of adjust to it. If you quit it for like 6 months, go back to it, you will not like the taste of it, I promise you. Focus. So people say caffeine helps them focus. This is like the common thing. Caffeine's marketed for school and fucking office shit and everyone's drinking caffeine as like a work thing. People think it makes them all look sophisticated and shit. Really, there's junkies. Like when you drink caffeine, it gives you this like uptight. It gives you this like uptight feeling, uneasy feeling. It makes you want to do shit, and over time, that just increases and increases and increases your anxiety because it puts you in fight or flight mode. It's literally, you're drinking liquid stress hormones. And over time, it's obviously not good for you. Like, it's like driving all the time with the parking brake on. Like, it's not good for your car, bro. And that's what caffeine does to your body. It fucking, like, and sure, you can drink it. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Like, you can eat 8 chocolate bars a day. It doesn't make it good for you. So when it comes to focus, you didn't need caffeine to focus when you were a kid. I always use the kid analogy, but like when you were a kid playing on the soccer field, you didn't need caffeine to focus. So why do you need it now? You don't drink caffeine to focus, you drink it to feel normal again. So caffeine is clearly the fucking issue here. And what happens when you drink it, then initially you start going, like you drink it, you get the little like, you get the withdrawal, not the withdrawal, you get the relief because you're going through withdrawal, and then that goes away and you're going through caffeine withdrawal again, it's leaving your system. That's why you don't feel focus. It's because there's a drug leaving your system. That doesn't feel good. It's caffeine withdrawal, and then drinking caffeine takes away the withdrawal that the caffeine created in the first place. So, my phone's about to fall. So the solution to all of this is to get off the drug in the first place. The only way out is through. Motivation. So, you could argue caffeine gives you motivation. There's actually been studies shown that workplace, like this is the reason workplaces implemented coffee breaks, is because there was actually an increase in productivity. I think this is because most people's jobs suck, and once you get sober from caffeine, you realize, oh, I don't actually like this job. Caffeine kind of just gets you through it, makes you want to do it, but really you don't like it. You're just high on this fucking drug, and you don't give a shit. It's like if you're drunk, you'll talk to people you don't like. It's because you're on a drug, it's not because you like the people. And so, when it comes to motivation, caffeine is almost like giving up. It's a pussy move, man. We don't do those. Not on this channel. Fucking caffeine, man, it's like giving yourself artificial motivation. And when you drink it, you're basically saying to yourself, "Oh yeah, I'm not working a job I like. My life isn't fulfilling, and so I need to take this drug because I'm a fucking pussy and I can't get off it." That's what you're telling yourself. Like deep down, that's what you're saying to yourself. You need this drug because without it, you can't. Your life sucks that much. You need this drug to get through it. You're trying to escape by getting high. That's literally what you're doing. It's just with caffeine and not with like weed or some shit. And energy. I think this is the biggest reason people drink caffeine. It's probably for the perceived energy boost. Corporations say this. Everybody says this. Oh, caffeine gives you energy. Red Bull gives you wings. Fuck off, Red Bull. I'm going to cancel my Red Bull. No, but for real. People think caffeine gives them energy. I think I might have said this earlier in the video, but it doesn't give you energy. It just blocks the adenosine receptors in your brain. And it negates the withdrawal that it creates in the first place. And it gives you perceived energy. But still, like, you're operating way below your baseline. Like, if your baseline's here, when you're drinking caffeine, when you drink caffeine over a prolonged period of time, your energy starts to slowly drop off. And then when you drink caffeine, it spikes up again because the withdrawal ends. So it spikes up a little bit, but it still is way below where you started. So what you think is perceived energy, it's just a boost from your already shitty energy levels, if that makes sense. So if you're like 30% energy, caffeine gets you to 70, and then it drops down to 30 again. And it gets you to 70, then it drops down to 25. It keeps going lower and lower. But why not just operate at 100% and just get off the shit? Sure, when you quit, there's an energy drop, but then over time, your energy will improve. So, after that long rant, how do we actually quit caffeine? So, when I decided to quit, I tried a few methods. I tried cold turkey. It didn't work. It's not a good method. Like, sure, you can try it if you want. Maybe it'll work for you. But for me, I just couldn't quit cold turkey. It was just too big of a jump. So then I tried dwindling down slowly. I used to drink 4 cups a day. And I tried switching to 3.5. Then I tried switching to 3. And I just couldn't stick with it. Like it's like the willpower thing. You have a moment of weakness. And then you relapse. Then I tried switching to a lower caffeine alternative. Which I'd actually 100% recommend this. This isn't like the foolproof method to quit. But it's an effective alternative. So if you're having pre-workout, if you're having energy drinks, throw that shit out. Especially the energy drinks. My God. Read the label. Read the fucking label on that shit. I don't mean to be some like uptight bitch who's like, oh my God, I can't have this. There's chemicals in it. But like, dude, you know that shit's not good for you. If you feel shitty, if your life has gone to shit and your mental health is terrible and you change nothing, like your life is a result of your actions. And so if you're drinking this shit and your life is shit, then change your actions. Clearly what you're doing is not working. Then there's coffee. Coffee is probably better than the first 2 options, but still, it's so much caffeine. It's a super physiological dose. Like, you wouldn't give caffeine to a pregnant lady. You wouldn't give it to a baby. You'd fucking kill them. So clearly, you shouldn't be giving it to yourself. Like, why are we any different? We can drink it, but why should we? It's not good for us. It stresses you out, bro. Anyways. So, the alternative that I'd recommend is green tea. Now, it's an acquired taste. You may not like it, but so was coffee. So just suck it up. Stop being a bitch. What I did, I switched to green tea. I'm going to outline a system in a second that you actually use to quit. But once you get down to a certain dose, I switched to green tea. I got down to like 1 cup of coffee. That's when I switched to green tea. And the reason I did that is because green tea has 1/3 of the caffeine that coffee has, and it also has high concentrations of L-theanine. L-theanine is known to decrease stress and anxiety, which I think if you're watching this video, caffeine is probably inducing stress and anxiety, so that's probably why you want to quit, along with being burnt out. So it's a good alternative, but again, it's not a good long-term strategy. So, here's my system. Get some water first. I don't know if I'm going to keep this raw or I'm going to cut this out, but so my system for quitting caffeine is, if you have 4 cups a day, let's just start with that. That's where I used to be at, 4 cups a day. 4 cups a day. And when I wanted to quit, I found this method, this guy on Reddit talked about this, and it's very, very effective. Believe it or not, you actually learn stuff on Reddit. Have 3.5 cups, but do this. So the first 3 cups, keep it normal, but for the last cup, do half regular, half decaf. So there's still caffeine in decaf, but it's very low. It's like 10 milligrams. So with that, you get to drink 4 cups of coffee. Still, you're getting the same amount of liquid, so it's tricking your brain into thinking, oh, you're still getting your 4 cups, but you're getting less caffeine. And over time, you might experience like slight withdrawal, but it's this mental hack. It makes it so much easier to stick to it. It almost becomes this game. It's like, how quickly can I reduce and get down to nothing? It's pretty fun. Actually, I reduced way quicker than I probably should have, but it's fine. If it works, it works. Like, I used to go to Tim Hortons in the morning and get a farmer's wrap and a black coffee, and I'd literally be like, oh yeah, can I get a small coffee, black, half regular, half decaf? And they just poured it up. They didn't give a fuck. So I was like, just do that. You can do that. Other people actually do that. They get like half regular, half decaf just to minimize the caffeine. I've seen it before, so you can do that. Or buy your own coffee because it's way cheaper. So when you do this method, there's going to be a point where you're going to have to eventually reduce the cups. Like, you get down to like... Once you get down to like all decaf, or whatever, get down to like 1 cup of coffee, you got to switch. So at that point, maybe you switch to green tea and then slowly reduce that. You keep doing that over time and keep the pleasure and pain mindset in your brain. Focus on how negative, like I don't think, if you want to seriously drink caffeine after watching this whole video, comment below and I will destroy your fucking argument. But yeah, at some point you're going to have to just quit the stuff, and at that point, pleasure and pain mindset, keep it in your head. Focus on how negative caffeine is and how positive your life will be once you get through the withdrawal. Now, caffeine withdrawal, everybody's best friend. So there are a couple withdrawal symptoms you might experience. There's a mindset to reduce this. Like, this whole method in general, it like going down slowly, it will help, but there might still be some withdrawal, which is fine. Like, if you're drinking caffeine for 4 years, like 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, 20 fucking years, your brain's been on this drug. You've been operating solely on this drug. It's going to take time for your brain. Like, you can't expect it to go back to normal in like a week. It's going to take time for your brain chemistry to get back to normal and for your body to adapt to just having natural energy again, which is okay. It means your body's healing. And so when you quit, I experienced, there's this thing called there's this thing called like anhedonia or something, anhedonia. It's basically like you don't experience enjoyment or pleasure in life. Like, everything's just pretty dull. And this might sound depressing, but this will reduce over time if you are persistent, if you do not give up. But if you go back to caffeine, your life's never going to change. So the only way out is through. Fucking go through the shit. And so to reduce this, before one exercise, get some cardio in. Like, it's hard to be depressed when you're, well, it's debatable. It's hard to be depressed when you're running 30 minutes straight, or if you're like doing some workout. Like, it gets you out of your head and into your body, and you need that. You need that dopamine hit. Like, it'll give you, or exercise gives you an outlet. It gives you a way to decrease your anxiety, and it gives you a similar energy boost to caffeine, but it's healthy. So definitely recommend that. Something good to focus on. It's probably in the first month, I found the only thing I could get any enjoyment out of was exercise. So I did that. Next, like I said, energy drops, but that's expected. If you reduce slowly, eat healthier foods, and you exercise, drink a lot of water, or drink enough water, that's all you can do with that. Eventually, it'll increase over time. Something else you may experience going through caffeine withdrawal, aside from like the energy dip and the headaches, that's like mild shit. That'll decrease pretty soon. But one of the biggest issues for me was, I don't know if it's called depersonalization or dissociation or whatever it's called. It's basically when you feel like, there's some other guy online, he talked to Joe Rogan, Michael someone, you can look it up, quit caffeine, and his video will come up. But he talked about this as well. He found there was this wall between him and reality, and like, almost like you don't feel real sometimes. And I still definitely feel that some days. But I think I think that might be a symptom of caffeine withdrawal. I think it also is a symptom of trauma. I read a lot of people talk about this, like online. Trauma can cause dissociation. So if you are feeling that wall between you and reality, it could be trauma as well. Maybe you just need time for your body to get through some shit, or maybe you need, and it's not gonna happen on the drugs. So if you want to get through shit, you need a sober state of mind. Yeah. Overall, though, for the whole caffeine withdrawal, the energy, all that shit, anxiety is another thing. When you're on caffeine, it gives you this. It's weird. When you're on it, it gives you this like social anxiety where you're stressed out in your own skin. You don't feel comfortable who you are. Like, just in an environment, like it's more of like a physical anxiety. And I found when I quit caffeine, I had more of this like existential anxiety where like you ask yourself questions. Like when you're off this drug, you can't rely on this anymore to lie to yourself. So you're faced with like the ugly totality of your life, which is like, oh, what am I gonna do with my life? Is this all there is? Did I fuck my brain? You ask yourself all these questions. What's the meaning of life? What am I gonna do with myself? Like you ask yourself all these questions and all these existential things that you don't have answers for. I want to tell you now, if you are following this protocol, and I hope you do because it is worthwhile. Life is better on the other side of this shit. I'm still getting there. I'm only 6 months in. I think realistically you need 8 to 12 months, probably like 12 months sober from anything to get like actual perspective and not be going through withdrawal. Because let's face it, withdrawal, like being on a drug sucks, but going through withdrawal from that drug is probably worse. But if you get through that, life is better than both of the two. But you can't determine that until you're off it. Because your brain, it's going to play tricks on you. It's going to try to get you to relapse. To tell you, oh, well, caffeine has antioxidants, which if you believe that, you're a fucking idiot at this point. But it's going to tell you all these things. It's like, oh, well, 1 cup's not going to hurt me, blah, blah, blah. But when you get down, follow the system. Don't fucking increase it anymore. Like, stick with it. Focus on how painful caffeine is. Don't let your brain trick you into thinking it's pleasurable, because it's not. When you're going through it, it's going to feel like you don't have the answer. It's going to feel like you're by yourself. But keep in mind, man, everyone who's gone through caffeine withdrawal has gone through this. Everyone has their own problems. Everyone has their own issues. Nobody has it all figured out. Some person may think they know the answer. They don't. Everybody has, like, there's this quote. I heard, I think Josh Radnor said this, and he said this, he quoted somebody else. I'm going to quote him. I'm going to try. He said, behind every truth, there's a lie. And behind every great truth, there's another great truth. Or something. It's like one thing can be true, but the other thing, the opposite can be true, and I don't know. Point being, figuring out the meaning of life, figuring out all this shit, what you want to do, who you want to be, who you are, it's a long road, and don't expect to have all the answers now. It is okay that you do not have the answers, because if you know everything, you can't grow, and if you can't grow, what's the fuck's the point? How are you gonna enjoy yourself if you're the same person you were when you were like in high school? Like at some point you got to evolve. Keep that in mind. When it comes to anxiety too, have this fucking mentality. Fuck it. We're literally apes floating on a rock in an infinite galaxy of nothingness, and we're all gonna die. Who gives a fuck? You don't need to be this like this image you have in your head of who you need to be and this persona you need to put up. Like, take it down. Take off the mask. Who gives a fuck? Fuck it. Find your group of friends. Have a good time. That's the purpose of life. Purpose of life is to enjoy yourself. This is a weird tangent, but it relates to this. Purpose of life is to have a good time. That doesn't mean going out and drinking every weekend. There's ways to do these things with systems in place, because once you realize when you get older, like, not that I'm old, but you can't drink all the time. It fucks your brain. It fucks your mental health. But you can do these things infrequently. Not caffeine. Fuck caffeine. But enjoy yourself, man. You don't need to spend all this time researching caffeine. This is the video. Follow this fucking guide and then forget about it and do other things. Have some fun with your life. Get outside. Get off social media. Those things are so bad for your anxiety. That may not mean caffeine withdrawal. You may think, oh, this is caffeine withdrawal. It's this period. A lot of times, it's just your lifestyle sucks. That's the thing. When you take away this drug, you are faced with your life. And that's a good thing, because now you can change your life. If your life is terrible, if it's really shit, you hate your job, whatever, you can now see it. You get this caffeine clarity. And I think if the entire world quit caffeine, I made a video on that actually. I think if the entire world quit caffeine, people would actually start pursuing what they want in life. Like, some people wouldn't, and they'd fail and they'd just go back to their job and suck it up. But a lot of people, I think, would start pursuing things they want on the side. They'd pursue their hobbies, and that's a good thing, because you need something that fulfills you. Like, you can work your shitty job, sure, and just to get your money, but you need something else that you actually like doing, because if you're not enjoying your life, what the fuck's the point? So without caffeine, you get to see your life for what it is, and you can make those changes, because your life right now, everything is your fault. Know that. Don't, like, you blame caffeine, fuck caffeine, that shit's terrible, you didn't know. But up to this point, after this point right now, you know caffeine's terrible. You watched up to this point, you're awesome. Most people don't make it through a whole video. Most people don't, like, people buy books, they don't even read past the first chapter. You made it to this point, man. You know caffeine's bad for you, and so if you go back to it, and if you binge it, you keep increasing your intake, it's your own fault. Okay, you know now. You have the answers. Are you going to implement it? Or are you going to sit around like a little bitch and whining? But, oh, my life's so terrible, I'm so burnt out. No. Make the change. Be the change you want to see. No, for real. It's... Have the fucking mentality. Fuck it. Who gives a fuck? Fuck anxiety. Fuck that shit. And if you tell yourself to... Think back to what we said earlier about the mindset. If you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to go through caffeine withdrawal, it's going to be so bad, you're going to feel worse. If instead you tell yourself... It might sound kind of stupid, but tell yourself there's no caffeine withdrawal. Tell yourself caffeine withdrawal doesn't exist. Fuck caffeine withdrawal. Fuck that shit. I don't have it. Because if you tell yourself that, you'll feel exponentially better than if you tell yourself, oh, I'm going through withdrawal. I'm so out of it. So terrible. You're going to feel that. It's going to make it worse. So there's no reason for that. So just tell yourself there's no caffeine withdrawal, and then do the good habits. Fucking exercise. Get outside. Get off social media. And just follow the system of decreasing it. And when you feel like quitting, this is the final section. When you feel like saying, fuck this guy. I'm going to go back and drink caffeine because I feel miserable. Think about this. You watch this whole video, you know caffeine's bad, and your life is shit up to this point, more than likely. So if your life is terrible right now, and caffeine is the root of that, if you change nothing, your life in 10 years, and 20 years, and 30 years is going to be way worse. But now you're older, and you've not that you wasted all this time, but you could have been living such a higher quality life. And the purpose of life is to enjoy yourself, and this caffeine is stripping that away from you. It's turning you into this depressed, older, weighed down version of yourself, a shell of who you used to be. Then why are you on the fucking drug? Quit it now. Have a shitty withdrawal period for let's say up to 6 months. After 6 months, it's gotta get better. That's the longest it's gonna fucking last before it starts to get better, but it should get better before that, guys. Unless you're really heavy into it, but have the right mindset. Tell yourself there's no withdrawal, and get through it. Because the life you want, it's on the other side of this fucking bullshit addiction. If you imagine you have kids in the future, and you're just this drained, burnt out person, and then you teach that to them, and they become that. You seriously want that? Or do you want to live a life where you're actually fulfilled? A life where when you wake up, you feel energized. A life where you wake up, and you don't need to rely on some drug. You just go live your life, and that's enough. So I don't know. That's my opinion. I think caffeine sucks. I think it's an epidemic. Maybe I'll make an update later on. But, yeah. If you enjoyed this free guide, click the subscribe button. Hope this helps. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or if you have any, you want to share your story, whatever it is. I'll try to answer it. If you think caffeine is great, I'd love to roast you. Leave a fucking comment below. Have a good day, boys. Peace.